Alright, now that we've left the trains and tracks behind, let's gently drift into the opulent, bizarre, and frankly weird world of European royalty. Tonight, we're tackling the Habsburgs, a family so inbred they made family reunions look like mirror mazes. Grab your metaphorical monocle and prepare to judge, because this is a dynasty where keeping it in the family was taken to Olympic levels. Let's ease into the story of the Habsburgs, a clan that was equal parts powerful, tragic, and what were they thinking? The Habsburgs were one of the most influential royal families in European history, ruling vast swaths of territory from Austria to Spain for centuries. But let's be real, their real claim to fame wasn't their political prowess, it was their jaw-dropping commitment to inbreeding. Because when you're royalty, why marry someone new when you can just marry your cousin, or your uncle's niece, or your first cousin once removed? You get the idea. It all started with a simple enough strategy: marry within the family to keep wealth, titles, and power from slipping away. But the Habsburgs took this to a whole new level. By the 16th and 17th centuries, their family tree was less of a tree and more of a tangled cactus. And, as we'll see, this didn't exactly lead to genetic greatness. Let's talk about Charles II of Spain, the unfortunate poster child for Habsburg inbreeding. Poor Charles was the result of generations of uncle-niece and cousin-cousin marriages, and it showed. He was called El Hechizado, the Bewitched, because people couldn't fathom how someone could be so, well, messy without some supernatural intervention. Charles had a long list of health issues, including physical deformities, mental disabilities, and the inability to chew food properly. Oh, and he didn't speak his first word until he was 4 years old. But hey, at least he was a king, right? Charles's jaw, in particular, became the stuff of legend. Thanks to generations of inbreeding, the Habsburgs developed a condition known as Habsburg jaw or Habsburg lip, a protruding lower jaw that made them look like they were perpetually pouting. Charles took this to the extreme. His jaw was so pronounced that it allegedly made it difficult for him to eat and speak. But, minor details for a monarch. Now, let's not forget the women in this royal soap opera. Take Infanta Margaret Teresa of Spain, for example. She was the daughter of Philip IV and his niece, Mariana of Austria. Yes, you read that right. Niece. Margaret Teresa was so inbred that she had a double Habsburg chin and a jaw that could rival Charles II's. But she was also known for her beauty, because apparently 17th century standards were flexible. She married her uncle, Leopold I, Holy Roman Emperor, because why stop the tradition now? Speaking of Leopold I, he was a Habsburg through and through. He had the jaw, the inbreeding, and the family drama, but he was also a pretty decent ruler, all things considered. He managed to hold the Holy Roman Empire together during a time of constant warfare, which is more than we can say for some of his relatives. Still, his marriage to Margaret Teresa produced no surviving heirs, which is not surprising, given the circumstances. Let's float over to another Habsburg disaster, Ferdinand I, Holy Roman Emperor. He was known as Ferdinand the Benign, which sounds nice until you realize it was basically a polite way of saying he was kind of useless. Ferdinand had a limited mental capacity, likely due to his Habsburg heritage, and his wife, Anne of Bohemia and Hungary, pretty much ran the show. But hey, at least he was a nice guy, right? The Habsburgs' obsession with inbreeding wasn't just a quirk, it was a strategy. They believed that marrying within the family would keep their bloodline pure and their power secure. But, as we've seen, it also led to a host of genetic issues, from physical deformities to infertility. By the time Charles II died childless in 1700, the Spanish Habsburg line came to an end, and the family's legacy was left to their Austrian cousins. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the irony here. The Habsburgs were one of the most powerful families in Europe, ruling over millions of people. And yet, their own genetic choices led to their downfall. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy, but with more chins and fewer happy endings. So, there you have it, the Habsburgs, a family that took keeping it in the family to a whole new level. Their story is a reminder that power and prestige don't always lead to good decisions or good genetics. Now, let's take a deep breath, maybe stretch a little, and prepare to float into the next chapter of history. Because, as we all know, there's always another royal disaster waiting just around the corner. Good night, guys.